Hey guys, welcome to Red's Projects. Today, working on the 5.3 again. If you've seen last episode, probably a bit confused why I'm working on it because I finished it last episode and it was complete, done, ready to drop in, but there was two problems I encountered. Alright, so first problem. I had one notched head on this motor. I noticed when I was putting it together, I think the right hand head had the notch in it. I didn't think much of it. Did a bit of research, and if you run a notched head with an MLS head gasket, you can get a water leak. The notched heads are from the early, very early Gen 3 motors, and they're designed to be used with a conventional head gasket. I'm not sure what their proper term is for them, but they're the squishier, almost like an exhaust gasket. I'll put a photo up so you know what I'm talking about. Or you can run a special MLS gasket to suit those heads. But apparently if you run a normal like LS1 GM head gasket, you can get a water leak with them. So I was trying to work out why I only had one as well. They weren't both notched heads, and it was because me and Tony both bought 5.3s at the same time. They were both on the same pallet. The heads were off already, so we got heads mixed up. He had one notched head, I had one notched head. So I asked Tony if I could give him my notched head, take the non-notched head, the normal head, and I would use both of them. He would use the notched heads, and I would find and buy him the correct MLS head gaskets to suit those heads for his motor. So he was happy with that. I was happy with that. I had two matching heads now. He had two matching heads. And that leads into the second problem. So while I was at Tony's place, I was helping him pull his 5.3 apart. We got the balancer off it, got the crank out of it, all the other good stuff. And we found that it's had a spun main bearing. He is in the process now of getting quotes to repair it, if it is repairable, if it's worth repairing. He wants to try and get his money back for the motor or get another motor exchange for it. While I was there, I suggested an idea to him. I'm not going to be using my 5.3 for, I don't know, at least 6 months to a year. So if he wants, he can buy my motor off me. I'll buy something else, or I'll just use the 6 litre or whatever. I'm not really fast. He needs a motor to put into his Monaro so he can pull the LS1 out and work out what's wrong with it. It's got a very loud knock and it's kind of sad. So I put that idea to him. He seemed to like that idea, and the next day he messaged me and said, yep, it's a great idea. He's going to buy my motor off me while he's working out his one and be able to move forward with his car. So the only thing that changed was Tony had a Crow cam he wanted to put into his 5.3, so he gave that to me to put into this one. So the weekend comes around, I pull the notched head off, take that off, pull the other head off as well so I can get all the lifters out, make it easy to pull the cam out. And this is where I find issue number 2. The cam doesn't come out. It comes out a little bit, gets stuck. And anyone that's played with LSs and that knows exactly what that is. It was a cam bearing slid out. And it was the middle one. That slows everything down, so I had to do more research on cam bearings and all that sort of junk. So I bought some cam bearings through the week. I got a tool to install them. I've never done them before in my life, so I'm going to knock all the bearings out, knock the new ones in, hopefully everything goes sweet. I'm going to assemble this thing completely today and have it ready for Tony so I can swap into his car. So that's what we're doing this weekend. Let's get stuck into it. Alright, so 2 weeks ago when I was putting these cam bearings in, I stuffed up one of them. It was the second one from the front. It was the last bearing I was tapping in, and the bearing kind of slipped over the tool and just really screwed it. So I ordered some new bearings, tapped that last one in this morning. I'm happy with them all. They all look great. They all look nice and shiny and fresh and stuff. So I'm happy with all that. I've already slid in the cam that's going into this motor, and it turns over nice. And some people, when they've replaced cam bearings, the cam's really tight and they've got to like hone it to make it free again. But this one was beautiful, so I'm all happy with that. And we're back to a bare block, and I'm going to assemble it all today, get it done. Just going to do one big long time lapse, because that way I can listen to music or podcasts or whatever and just get it all done in one hit. So hopefully it's half enjoyable for you, but I don't really care. I just want to get this thing done and get it onto its new home. We're pretty much done with this thing. To give you a quick recap of what this is, it's a 5.3 Gen 3 iron block. I put new rings, new bearings, new cam bearings. We slid in a Crow cam. I can't remember the exact specs, but I'm pretty sure it's a 226, 232 for duration. I'll put the specs up on the screen. I put a pack 1218 valve springs in it, and fresh head gaskets, the LS1 or 5.3 HO head gaskets, and that's it. Everything else is stock, reused, etc. So this should be a good little motor. It's a decent sized cam. It should work well. If I haven't mentioned it yet, it's going into Tony's Monaro because his LS1 has got a knock of some sort. So he's buying this off me, putting it into his Monaro. Then we're going to work out what we're going to do with the LS1. hopefully build it or make it better or bigger or fix it or whatever it may be. So that changes my plans. I was going to put this into my ute, but I'm thinking I've got two options. I can either put my 6 litre together and put that in, or if I sell this, I've got the opportunity to buy something else. So I'm looking at some of the small bore Gen 4 engines, like a Gen 4 5.3 or 4.8. So that kind of interests me a bit. So I might get one of those. Not sure yet. But that's it for this motor. That's it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.